I've lost over 50 pounds. And if I could go back to day one, there are so many things I wish I'd known when I started the process. Mistakes that cost me time, progress, and even my sanity. So in this video, I'll be breaking down the biggest lessons I've learned in the hopes that it'll help you with your fat loss journey and make it easier and more sustainable long term. And by the end of the video, I'll be answering the most commonly asked question I get, which is, was it even worth it? Slow and steady is so much better than fast and rushed. There have been so many times where I tried to rush the process. I got a little impatient. I felt like I wasn't seeing results quickly enough, so I really tried to push really hard, and it always kind of backfired. More often than not, I would end up rebounding. Whereas the other times where I took things slow, I took it at my own pace, everything went really smoothly. So slow and steady is really the key here. And sometimes that involved taking a diet break or feeling like I was tired and I just needed a day off, and I would do that. And the next day I always came back stronger. Fat loss would continue really smoothly. Some people find they can do it fairly quickly and they don't have too many issues. It's not too difficult to do it very fast. But a lot of people like myself, find that if you rush it too much, it's just too much on the body, it's too fatiguing, it's too overwhelming, and at the end of the day you just end up putting the weight back on, and that's really counterproductive. So some practical tips here are focusing on progress over the course of 1 to 2 weeks rather than daily progress. Your weight will fluctuate day to day, but what matters is that over 1 week, 2 weeks, the general weight trend is going down. That's what matters here. It's a long game. It's a long race for most of us, so just take your time with it. There's no rush, and you want this for the rest of your life. If you're feeling tired, you're feeling overwhelmed, the diet's really catching up on you, take a break. Take a break, there's no rush, take a break, go back to maintenance, eat normally, let the fatigue wipe off, let the mental strain wipe off, and then come back. And usually when you come back, the weight falls off fast and you're on track. The other thing that I like to do, I work a treat like a little chocolate or something into my diet every single day, which means I know that all day while I'm dieting, at the end of the day I have this treat. And it really keeps me on track, keeps me motivated, and makes it feel not so difficult. Of course, I'm not eating a whole cake or a huge McDonald's meal or something like that. It's just something small, something tasty, something you love, and you've got to find what you love. And you've got to find something that works and that isn't too overboard, and work it into your diet. It's totally fine to have it every single day. Nothing wrong with that. Probably further than you think, right? And what I mean by this is, when I started my diet almost 2 years ago, I thought I had a couple pounds to lose and I would be looking ripped. And that just was so far from the truth. And what it meant is that when I did lose a few pounds, I had success. I can see the weight's going down, but I'm not looking very good. I felt kind of unmotivated and I felt disappointed, and I often questioned whether or not I had enough muscle, was it all working? And the truth is, as a natural lifter, you have to get fairly light. You've got to be quite a light person to really be looking quite jacked and lean and shredded or whatever. And this leads me to my next point, which is, you'll likely look worse before you look better. Essentially what's happening when you're dieting is you're depleting the body. The body doesn't have enough food for the amount of energy you're outputting, and so you're depleting the body, especially since you're probably eating less carbohydrates than you typically do, which as a result means you have less glycogen in the body, which is what gives your muscles that full look. And so your body will look flat, you'll look flat, you won't look as pumped as you did when you were on the bulk or at maintenance, and you'll also likely have still too much body fat to really see any definition in the body. And this can be really confusing and discouraging because you're looking at the body, you've lost weight, but you're looking at your body and somehow it looks worse than when you were heavier. And often we'll start to think, oh, we're losing muscle at this point, which is not necessarily true. It may be true if you haven't really been resistance training and you're really not getting enough protein in, or maybe you're really rushing the process and have like a huge calorie deficit. But It's likely not the case. What's likely happening is you're low on glycogen, and yeah, you're in between where you still got a bit too much body fat to really see like abs and separation between the muscles. Knowing this is going to happen in advance means you can trust in the process. You can trust that I know I'm going to look a bit worse here, I know I'm going to look a bit flat, and I'm not going to have as good a pumps in the gym, but it's okay, because eventually when I sort of reach my goal and when I add carbohydrates back into the mix and some fats back into the mix, then I'm really gonna look really good. All right, lesson number 4. Now this one is one of the hardest pills to swallow, because I actually love exercise, I love activity, I love moving, but I also love food. And so I thought, well, I love moving, I'll just move more and then I can eat what I want. But you just can't outwork a bad diet. You'll hear people say this, and there is a lot of truth to this. It's so much easier to put on weight eating a lot of food than it is to lose weight by just reducing your food a little bit. I think a moderate to high activity level is good in this case, but yeah, much easier to just bring your calories down a little bit than to try and really ramp up the exercise and keep eating like an asshole. The other issue with it is activity also takes time, and a lot of us are really busy. We have jobs, we have kids, we have families, we have admin, the dreaded admin. Whatever you got going on in your life, and adding in a bunch of activity, unless you're like a professional athlete, really just isn't always the most practical way to go. I love eating large quantities of food. And one of the best ways I've found to be able to still kind of do this is just eating a lot of fruit and veg, because they're low in calories, but they're high in volume, so they take up a lot of space in your stomach. They're high in fiber, so they're very filling and satiating. And so you can cover half your plate with a mound of vegetables. It'll be low in calories, you'll be feeling really full afterwards. But yeah, you won't be eating a ton of calories, and therefore it will really help with the weight loss. Was this 2 years of dieting to lose over 50 pounds, I think I lost 54 pounds, has it been worth it? The answer is, fuck yes, it's been worth it. Absolutely. And it's been worth it in so many more ways than are just physical, It's given me a sense of confidence in myself and my abilities to pursue a goal and achieve it, to persevere through hardship. It's instilled a sense of trust in myself, I think what often happens is we set out to do a diet and we fail and we give up, and that's really not good for the trust you have in yourself. So it's very normal to fail, by the way, but the key is to fail and try again. Fail, try again, fail, try again, and eventually you will get there. And it will mean you have a lot of trust in yourself and your own abilities. It's done wonders for my confidence, which I think has a lot to do with the trust it instills in yourself. One of the coolest parts of the whole process is how I've seen people in my life, it's motivated them to go on their own fitness, fat loss journeys. And that's really cool. It's really nice to make a positive impact on others, because I think dieting can feel like quite a selfish pursuit, because in many ways it is. But when you see how, someone else has seen this, that you've done this thing, and they're like, I want to do that for myself, it's really quite gratifying. One of the coolest benefits is the face fat. The whole pursuit for me has been very much about my body composition, and I kind of didn't realize that it would take a lot of fat off my face and change the structure of my face, which again probably spills over into confidence, but that's been like an unexpected benefit of the whole process. I learned so much along the way about how to structure a diet, about where the real calorie high foods are, tracking calories has taught me a lot about food. And I just didn't have that knowledge before. It was just something I didn't know. And just like anything, dieting is a skill. You have to learn, you have to educate yourself, you have to take time, trial and error, learn, practice, listen to podcasts, read stuff. But has it been worth it? 100%. Totally worth it. Totally suggest doing it. My email is linked in my bio, and you can email me if you have any questions, or if you need some online coaching, we can talk about doing something like that. If you haven't subscribed and you like the content, if you got this far, you might as well subscribe. Hit a like, give it a little comment, because it really helps the videos, the channel grow. All right, thanks guys, cheers.